Less than a decade ago, if you wanted to legally smoke cannabis without a medical card, you likely were dreaming of a trip to Amsterdam. Today, 18 states have legalized recreational cannabis, with more certainly to come, making it extremely easy to have a cannabis-forward vacation experience without having to bring your passport along. Cannabis has unlocked excellent excuses to visit places that might not already be on your radar, be it a chill Massachusetts beach town flanked by dispensaries or a West Coast hamlet where great food pairs with potent flower. But what makes a truly great destination for those who dream in green isn't just a wealth of good dispensaries and things to look at. It's the presence of a whole cannabis culture wrapped around excellent activities, food, drink, people, and yeah, a lot of great dispensaries and things to look at. With the help of our most trusted cannabis explorers around the US, we rounded up the places for your next heady adventure. Be sure to bookmark this story, just in case something might compel you to forget to visit one of America's best cannabis destinations. Los Angeles, California. Feel free to treat Los Angeles like it's cannabis candyland, only instead of a peppermint forest or molasses swamp. There are amazing places to explore like Wisdom's immersive art park, conveyor belt sushi bars, Korean day spas, and beach boardwalks where you can ride those funny scooters that everyone hates. It might not have been the first city to legalize, but La is by far the biggest, and it's flush with 420 friendly experiences, well-curated dispensaries, and leaders in cannabis media like High Times, Mary Jane, and Civilized. Visit the original Cannabis Cafe, a landmark toque patio that opened in West Hollywood in 2019 offering up pre-rolls and blunts from stalwart brands like Caliva, Stone Road, and Henry's Original along with infused eats and rentable accessories for those who want to dabble in concentrates or smoke out of a classy bud vase flower bong. Take any pastime and cross it with great bud, and there's likely an established community for it in La. Take the Epicurean-friendly Cannabis Upper Club and the often mesmerizing Stone Video Gamer League for example. There are cannabis-centric events from Hazy and Grassed, and, for the biggest of aficionados, opportunities to visit a local grow-op as part of La Hemp Tours, or get far out in a glass-blowing factory with Tommy Chong on green tours. Sean Cooley. Santa Fe, New Mexico. Starting April 1, 2022, you can check out Santa Fe's incredible Canyon Road art scene with a different mindset after picking up some newly legalized recreational cannabis at one of the city's just opened dispensaries, most of which you'll find in the north side of the city near downtown. Santa Fe perfectly personifies New Mexico's reputation as the land of enchantment. Nestled in the foothills of the Sangre de Cristo Range, come here to spend hours dazed and confused amongst the adobe architecture, whiling the hours away in the grassy Central Plaza or sipping margaritas at one of the numerous sidewalk and rooftop restaurants around it. The art-focused city is also home to the original Meow Wolf, a mind-bending psychedelic immersive art experience best experienced stoned. If you prefer to just chill with a hot spring soak and a massage treatment in a Japanese onsen-style resort, head to 10,000 Waves for some serious R&R just 20 minutes from downtown. It hardly gets more soothing than a smoke and spa sesh. Becca Blonde. Ann Arbor, Michigan. After Michigan legalized recreational marijuana in 2020, cities across the state immediately started getting business licenses to open retail shops, and with more recreational cannabis dispensaries than anywhere else in Michigan, Ann Arbor is the state's most stoned city. There are more than 24 shops to choose from. Start with exclusive Ann Arbor Marijuana and Cannabis Dispensary and 315 Cannabis Dispensary, before working through the rest. Ann Arbor has a long-standing relationship with pro-cannabis legalization efforts. The city hosts one of the country's oldest political cannabis rallies, the Ann Arbor Hash Bash. Celebrating its 50th anniversary on April 2nd, the annual event is held over 2 days and features live music, street vendors, and speakers. To explore beyond Ann Arbor, check out the Michigan Cannabis Trail, which connects cannabis experiences and events across the state, acts as a repository for all the latest cannabis news, and keeps a detailed dispensary list for each city. Becca Blonde. Chicago, Illinois. To say product flew off the shelf in Chicago post-legalization is a massive understatement. Hell, the genius Girl Scouts that stationed themselves outside of Dispensary 33 could barely keep cookies in stock. Supply and demand being what they are, dispensary lines will continue to be out the door for the months to come, and with good reason. Chicago is an excellent high city. Let the plant be your guide, and pick up GTI's Brown Scout strain, testing at a pleasantly heady 30% THC, or any of local James Beard-winning chef Mindy Siegel's groundbreaking artisanal edibles. While recurring events and on-site consumption lounges have yet to take shape, there are numerous formal gatherings you can attend this spring, among them the Waldo's Forever Fest, a free street fair from DO 312 and Chicago Cannabis Alliance, and live tunes and infused beverages at Lagunitas Taproom. Any time of year, your own Ferris Bueller's psychedelic day off should include arcade jockeying at Emporium, picnicking at a free concert or movie in Millennium Park, and checking out the Annoyance Theater's Let's Be Blunt show, or Holy Fuck Comedy Hour for shades of Adult Swim humor. Sean Cooley. Anchorage, Alaska. Necessary supplies for an Alaskan hiker's survival kit, a pocket knife, flashlight, and a big fat joint. The latter ought to be rolled with premium flower from Frost Farms, the most heralded cultivator in the state with 6 Northwest Cannabis Classic trophies, 4 NWCC medals, and a High Times Cannabis Cup for Best Sativa to its name. In Anchorage, cannabis is legal and readily available in a mature market with a surprising variety of high-end and low-cost options across consumption types. It's a natural accessory for a lifestyle centered around adventure travel, as well as snowed-in days of reindeer sausage in Fortnite. Applying the gruff and rebellious attitude of their homesteading predecessors, Alaskans have long held liberal views on cannabis consumption. Today, recreational legalization has increased competition, and therefore the quality of bud, and the general non-using public has very few detractors. As in most places, you may find it tricky to find a venue you can smoke in, so all the more reason to take it outside, whether it's a karaoke smoke break at a prestigious dive bar like the Salty Dog Saloon, or while spotting beluga whales at Turnagain Arm. One item to add to your bucket list, an Aurora Borealis helicopter tour, where you can view the northern lights, while you yourself are lit. Sean Cooley. Portland, Oregon. Between a craft-obsessed artisan culture, dogmatic attention to organic and sustainable growing practices, and a shared joy of doing things purely for the love of it, Portland served as the perfect incubator for a thriving legal cannabis scene. Less than 2 years after adult-use cannabis was legalized in 2014, the Cultivation Classic was born, the first cannabis cup to require all submissions to be grown in living soil and free of mineral salt fertilizers, in which winners were assessed in a double-blind review by a vetted group of sommeliers, brewers, and esteemed growers. Thanks to chefs like Cook with Cannabis winner Liv Vasquez and host Leather Stores, culinary cannabis experiences quickly advanced past infused olive oil drizzled appetizers to masterly orchestrations of seasonal, locally sourced ingredients and single-strain cannabis extract, every bite carefully timed and dosed to ensure ideal dinner party rhythms. While the breadth of consumption-friendly events like cannabis aerobics, arts classes, and even an adult summer camp are well worth waiting for, walk into Farmer or Archive any day for a dispensary menu as trustworthy as it is star-studded with renowned genetics descendants from Oregon's legacy cannabis community. If you're feeling more experiential, check out the aesthetically artful, gallery-like Sarah Stores, or the 1960s time capsule that is Electric Lettuce. Lauren Yoshiko. Boulder, Colorado. We're not saying to skip Denver. Denver's great. Go to Denver. But Boulder is legendary. Recreational cannabis has been legal in Colorado since 2012, but the culture in this progressive mountain town goes back decades. It's one of the true originals. The University of Colorado Boulder holds one of our most iconic 420th smokeouts. Denver's Mile High 420 Festival, though, is the biggest free 420th smokeout in the world. The stereotype of the chilled-out Boulder hippie is one that you're probably familiar with, even if you don't smoke and have never been to Boulder. Up here, in the rarefied mile-high air, we don't just smoke and kick back, we're active, we're outdoors, we're incorporating a healthy amount of bud into the other parts of our lives. Hit up a ganja yoga class during your visit, treat yourself to a cannabis-infused massage, try staying at a smoke-friendly hotel, or opt for a full-on weed tour, if you're ready to go all out. This is Colorado cannabis culture at its finest, and in a much smaller, chiller package. And if you want something bigger and wilder, Denver's just down the road. Castalia Medrano. Washington, D.C. When people think of D.C., they usually think of politics and museums. Increasingly, cannabis is also part of the conversation. Medical cannabis became legal in 2011, and recreational product got the green light 4 years later. Residents can even grow up to 6 plants at home. There are caveats, of course. It's illegal to possess cannabis on federal land, which makes up more than a quarter of the district, or smoke up anywhere in public. For those with a medical license, there are excellent dispensaries in the city, such as Capital City Care and National Holistic, as well as in neighboring Maryland, where canna connoisseurs give high ratings to Tacoma Wellness Center in Tacoma Park. Leveraging the unique intersection with the political sphere, proponents gather for cannabis lobbying days in the Can-Atlantic Cannabis Conference. But the biggest get-together is the National Cannabis Festival, taking place on 4/23 in 2022 and featuring talks, food, vendors, and a concert this year headlined by Wiz Khalifa. Visitors shouldn't overlook the cultural opportunities, and many are even better when you've popped an edible. Wander the grounds of Glenstone, an indoor-outdoor art museum dotted with pieces both trippy and thought-provoking. Immerse yourself in the interactive digital installations at Artec House, and feel like you're flying by taking in a 3D IMAX movie at the National Air and Space Museum. After all, you came all this way. You might as well see what made the city famous. Nevin Martel. Las Vegas, Nevada. It's hard to believe, given its history of psychedelia and general debauchery, that Nevada was, until fairly recently, pretty hardline against cannabis. But Vegas wasted absolutely no time positioning itself as a world-class cannabis destination in the years since recreational use became legal. The first feather in that cap is Planet 13, the world's largest dispensary and a standout in a city full of great bud shops. Built to look like a cross between Costco and Disneyland, and blessed with one of the most detailed menus on the West Coast, it's a 112,000 square foot dream come true. Bonus, it's open 24/7. You can get infinite shuttles to take you here, day or night, and buy as much cannabis as your heart desires, well, up to an ounce of flower. You're in for constant stimulation, so once you've partaken, prepare for the strip, where public consumption is technically illegal despite the omnipresent smell of cannabis. Do yourself a favor and hit a great show or a nice, sexy buffet like Wicked Spoon at the Cosmopolitan. Maybe dip in for some heat at Wing King, a chicken joint run by a dude, nicknamed the Ganjfather, that offers CBD-laced sauces. Want to keep the party going? Do you also have events like 420 bus tours, puff and paint, or cannabis pastry classes? But really, we all know you're here for the pretty lights and romantic moonlit walks on the strip. Whatever your preferred experience, you'll find it here. Janelle LaSalle. Burlington, Vermont. New England's crunchy hippie capital and quaint as hell weekend destination is also an unsurprisingly idyllic place to partake. While recreational cannabis has been legal since 2018, the Green Mountain State is still getting its adult use market up and running, which leaves most users to home grow their own. But if there's one group of resourceful locavers who can be trusted to handle grow lamps, meticulously test soil pH, and destroy spider mites, it's Vermonters. So if you're offered a joint on the Bolton Valley ski lift, which is likely, know that it's probably good shit. Expect craft cannabis to come and bloom and receive the same coveted presentation as maple syrup or beer. They're already there with farm-to-body CBD products. Leading the local culture crusade, Hetty Vermont is a media and activist group hosting events throughout the year, including the Hetties, an annual Growers' Cup naming the best flower, topicals, edibles, concentrates, and more. Vermontuana tracks the cannabis movement at the legislative level, though even if you're not prepping for Champlain College's special topics and cannabis marketing course, there are plenty of ways to enjoy a trip to Burlington while in an altered state. Take in a Grace Potter show on the waterfront, it's not all jam bands here, bike the lakeshore trail lit by lightning bugs, or succumb to leaf peeping, an activity that was 1000% coined by a hiker with access to some of Vermont's finest. Sean Cooley. Denver, Colorado. Told you we wouldn't tell you to skip Denver. How can you not get high in the Mile High City? Technically, that moniker comes from Denver's 5,280 feet, or exactly 1 mile high, elevation, but the city also has more cannabis dispensaries than it does Starbucks or McDonald's. Celebrating 10 years of recreational legalization in 2022, Colorado, and Denver, in particular, has had plenty of time to perfect their dispensary models and product. All organic and consistently high quality, the clinic, which has 4 locations around Denver, has been offering a stellar lineup of regular strains since they joined the game in 2009. Make them your go-to for flower and house-made live resin, butter, and wax. If you're a terpene-specific toker, you'll love the flavors here. Gelato cake is my absolute favorite for taste and mellow high. For super flavorful edibles, grab Juana's Fast Action Gummies, smokers rather than edible high, or Ripple's Quick Sticks, both available at the clinic. From 420 friendly airport pickups and hotel bookings to cannabis-infused dinners, companies like Colorado Cannabis Tours and 420 Tours can organize a slew of weed experiences for you. There's also the immersive Marijuana Mansion, an old Victorian manse transformed into a series of trippy rooms designed for Instagram photo shoots. There's even a hot tub filled with ping pong balls in one. Smoking is permitted inside, and there's a dispensary attached to the back. The MJ Mansion offers self-guided tours, private photo shoots, and evening party rentals. If you want to keep the cannabis fun going, eat some edibles and check out Meow Wolf's third permanent exhibition, Convergence Station, which opened in Denver in late 2021, or the iconic International Church of Cannabis. There are also always concerts at the legendary Red Rocks Amphitheater. Lighting up at the outdoor stadium isn't officially condoned, but frankly, everyone does it. Becca Blonde. The Bay Area, California. Taking a cue from San Francisco's Hall of Fame status in American cannabis culture, the Bay Area as a whole has a healthy appreciation for bud, which is probably why it's one of the liveliest cannabis tourist destinations in the country right now. Let's start off with the fact that taxes on cannabis in the city of Berkeley is an unreal 5%. Berkeley also allows on-site cannabis consumption at dispensaries and happens to be home to some truly fantastic culinary fare. Visit the Purple Heart Patients Center adjacent to Jack London Square and smoke a joint by the water, followed by a meal at the IAFA Thrillist Best Chef 2018 Remassel's Ode to Syrian Cuisine. Oakland also has its very own cannabis creative space that hosts 420 friendly classes, pastry, painting, pottery, or doubles as a 420 friendly event space. Once you're done ticking things off the go-to list, hitting the Haight, strolling Golden Gate Park, check out the new wave of cannabis-forward activities, indulge in a little CBD shopping at Sidewalk Wellness, check out a sex and cannabis workshop at Good Vibrations, or, if you time your trip right, celebrate 420 on Hippie Hill. Janelle LaSalle. Seattle, Washington. Seattle, on the whole, has a very normalized relationship with cannabis as well as a developed economy around it. Cannabis has been normalized here for so long that you can light up a joint without getting stares or scowls from anyone, whether they are a Microsoft millionaire or a grandparent or a cop. Pot just isn't that big of a deal here, says Lester Black, a staff writer covering cannabis at The Stranger. Washington's market is nearly as old as Colorado's, only with higher competition thanks to state laws forbidding vertical integration between farms and retailers. It makes for thousands of brands competing for limited shelf space at a few hundred stores, which has forced growers to improve their products, while also giving shoppers some of the cheapest bud in the world. Every August, the world's biggest, as far as we can tell, cannabis rally, Hempfest, draws thousands to the city, but at this point, it's easy to indulge, while enjoying the beauty of Seattle without an excuse. It's just a way of life, to get an enhanced view of everything from skyscrapers to glacier-covered volcanoes to the awe-inspiring Chivoli Garden and Glass exhibit, which could only be improved if its 100-foot-long suspended flower sculpture was also a functioning bong. Dreams. Pack a vape and take in the views at Bainbridge Island Ferry, Gasworks Park, Alki Beach, or from a canoe in the Arboretum. Toking up and catching a show at venues like the Showbox, Numos, and the Crocodile is also a must. Sean Cooley. New York City, New York. New York legalized recreational cannabis on March 31, 2021, but regulators have yet to award any business licenses, so there are no official dispensaries open yet. However, you can possess up to 3 ounces of cannabis, and unlike other states, the New York law allows for public consumption of cannabis in places that also allow tobacco smoking. In Nick, this means you can spark up a doobie on the sidewalk. Where you find the joint, however, is still a gray market. One of the best options is to find one of the green trucks, also referred to as Uncle Bud, that are dispatched to different locations around the city. Kind of a pot food truck, you'll order off a menu and then offer a donation for your cannabis. Check the website for daily locations. For more structured entertainment, head to Brooklyn for a 2-hour puff, pass, and paint class. Founded by Denver-based landscape painter, the company has classes in 13 cities across the U.S. including New York. The classes are bring your own cannabis, however. Becca Blonde.